box. Yeah. So I can go through here and be assigning these votes based on the way that voter voted. And again, I haven't changed the way the physical ballot at all, which is nice because it's very transparent. The way the ballot was received is the way that it remains.
Now, what would y'all do in this case if you had a ballot like this?
We have to look at the full ballot, and right now, tie that ballot back to the original at some point.
Right.
So, we have a remake policy here that we have had our board approve, and depending on whether or not Brenda's majority of the ballots are filled out with the oval one, like as soon as the.
Once they follow the instructions based on directive, like you say, they fill in an oval for one, but they circle the rest of the ballot. Once they follow the instructions once, that becomes what they should have voted. So all the rest of those contests would be invalidated.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if like this ballot where they did, every mark is contrary to the instructions, we could go ahead and remake that as it is.
Yeah, and I don't want you to get tied up in our examples. You need to make sure you're putting it towards your way of doing things, right?
And so the next example would be overvoted contests. So these are flagged in red, and I'd already resolved this one earlier, but let me go ahead and just revert it. So this is the way it would come in. And again, this is flagged, you're looking at it, and in this case, instead of having to, well, reprint this ballot, or get one that has been reprinted, and then duplicate it, and again, we're not just duplicating this contest, we have to duplicate the entire ballot and all the other markings, and then put it back in for scanning. Again, it's just a simple click. So instead of reprinting, duplicating, and rescanning, it's a one-click resolution process for these.
If we wanted to remake ballots and pull that out, is there any way to, like on a second pass, be able to find the marked ballots or anything? Is
So
there any
every ballot has a batch and a scan order, so you can find every specific ballot in the database, in the images, if you needed to go back and grab that particular ballot, and then you can delete that ballot out of the batch as well. So if you wanted to remake it and rescan it for whatever reason.
But we would not outsnap it.
So we could see the original ballot even though we already marked it on this program? Would we, without it being marked from the program? Could
Yeah,
we
so
see
the original ballot remains intact, and I can even hide the annotations here, and now I'm just looking at the raw digital image, and I can look at that at the contest level, and I can also toggle back in to see the full ballot as a whole. So this is the image that was scanned, and with no overlays, no markings, none of the software stepping on it in any way. And again, this is batch 1, scan order 6. I know exactly where that is because I've attached the batch number to that ballot, and it's on the shelf. But again, our approach is that in a normal operation, aside from some special circumstance with a ballot that has some really strange marks or something like that, your ballots are coming through, they're on the shelf, and resolution is taking place on screen.
So how would you show the public that?
So
Like if you have like audits and things of that nature, how would they, you would have to have the screen set up and all, how would you show them?
yeah, so we have customers that put it on a big screen, projected just like we're doing here today. It depends on, how you want to set that up for the people who would be making these types of resolution decisions. How do you currently show the public what you've done on a duplicated
No, I
ballot?
was just asking.
Yeah.
Because some stuff will have to go to the board or
Or
whatever.
if you go, or put yourself in like a recon scenario.
Yeah.
They wanna see the originals, because
Yeah,
in the
not
recount,
the
we'll only
audit.
show them the recounted ballot, because obviously we'll only count it. And oftentimes they say, well, we wanna see all the originals, so we can make sure you copy contest day to match contest day.
Right.
Of this ballot, so.
And you'll still be able to, like I said, you can always go and grab that physical ballot.
Well, we'd have to show them the screen, we wouldn't have a
That's what I'm
secondary
saying.
ballot to show them.
Oh, yeah. You
You know.
showed the original ballot
Right, and then
versus
how
the adjudicated contest on the screen. Yeah. So there's a lot of efficiencies. I mean, it's a change. It's a big change in your procedure and your process, but we think it's an efficient change as far as, less printing, less duplicating. And it's very transparent because you haven't changed anything about the ballot that was received, and you don't have two sheets of paper that are representing one person's vote going forward. So it's a lot cleaner and a lot more transparent in that regard. And this isn't like a brand new thing that we're just throwing out here, like this is the way we should do it. We've been doing this since 2002 with our digital adjudication and scanning all over the country. So,
Is there like a comments field or something like that to track who exactly adjudicated this ballot?
yeah, so based on the login, I can type notes in here, in that box. Just click, I don't know if you can see that, but I can add notes. I can even lock out a ballot or a specific contest and say, you know, this needs further review, and I'm gonna lock it out so that nobody could unlock it until I come in and do that.
Can you export a single image, like say you have one that didn't fall into one of the criteria of our remake policy, and the board had to look at it? Because we scan everything at the warehouse, but our board room is upstairs on the fourth floor.
Yeah, so from the drop-down menu here, I can export the page,
Okay.
or I could print it. When I print it, I can either print it to the connected printer or print it to PDF. So multiple ways that you could get those images out for review. And then, so imagine that this batch, and you'll have, you know, dozens, if not hundreds of batches of ballots in here. As they're being adjudicated and resolved, any batch that is completely cleared and ready to be written will appear in this list here as a batch that's available to be written to a V drive. And then that's when I can plug in a V drive for this election. These are the exact same V drives. So when you'll see in the ballot creation software that I'll show you in just a little bit, when you make these V drives, they're all identical and they're ready to go into a scan unit, a print unit, a touch writer, or to be used in Central. They just have to be for the election, of course. But at that point, I insert the V drive, I write a single batch or multiple batches to the drive, and then that drive is ready to be taken to the Verity Count tabulation software. Any questions there?
Back at the scan screen, can you go back there?
Yeah.
Maybe it was review, sorry. After you click on the batch and on the right-hand side, I think it shows like the ballots.
Yep.
Would unique ID, is that just like for this test, like, would that show the precinct, or that's just what it shows?
So if unique identifiers are turned on, which we don't have them for our demonstration purposes, you would see the beginning of the unique identifier for every ballot.
So that would just be, you know, this like almost random number?
Yes, yeah, an alphanumeric string.
And I don't want to jump ahead or anything, but on these like log reports that are printed out from there, is there anywhere where it shows like, you know, which precincts were scanned or the quantity?
When you do the batch report, so first of all, there's no hard and fast requirement from a technical standpoint that you need to sort the ballots at all. You could take every ballot from every precinct in the county, throw them all up in the air, just start scooping them up, and they can go in the scanner in any orientation. So there's no requirement for that. The batch report that is printed with that batch will tell you the precinct of every ballot that's scanned, and you can get by batch precincts that have been scanned. I would imagine you're probably going to continue to do some sort of pre-sort, and then you will know that, you know, batch one was this precinct.
And this batch report, this is something that you get from this program, or this is what prints out from that program?
It's from the program. Yeah, this is just a scanner, it doesn't print out. So,
Yeah, and just as an FYI, part of the reason we like to kind of keep everything organized is not so much before the front end, but on the back end.
absolutely.
We have elections where we have a lot of recounts, so then,
Yeah.
you know, after the election, we have to go through and find, you know, every single ballot for this precinct, like, and, you know, if it's on, you know, a shelf, at some point, we have to find this.
Right. So we have a lot of conversations about that, about, you know, do you want to eliminate that whole process from the front end, but knowing that you might have a pick and pull scenario on the back end, because you could use your reports. And for example, if you knew you needed to get all of the precinct 101 ballots, you would be able to run a report that says, well, there are precinct 101 ballots in batches, you know, 3, 9, 42, and 75 or something like that. And you could go get them, but that's work on the back end, and you could just eliminate all that by continuing your sort on the front end. And there's nothing to stop you from continuing that process. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
There's no technical limitation why you couldn't just scan them all at random.
Just to be clear, is like if they're ready to scan 100 pages for precinct 101,
Mm-hmm.
you won't know how many are in that there until you upload it, from the V drive, right? So the scanner, is there any kind of counter on the scanner at all?
Yeah, so we'll see when we put a batch through, it will tell you, if we put 100 ballots here, it'll say 100 pages were accepted,
Oh, okay.
100 ballots. If any were rejected, now you might get a reject if somebody had marked through a barcode or it was rendered unreadable in some way. But yeah, you're gonna know every batch, the quantity that's in there. And-
Oh,
Run their
before it
ballots
goes
real
on.
quick, show them.
Yeah.
Possible.
Y'all wanna run the ballots that you've marked? This one? Yeah.
So it's like,
That's easy just to show you.
just no matter what, like, it's 250 sheets, that can go through, that's it, not ballots, the sheets, right?
Sheets, yeah, I'm talking about sheets,
Okay.
and there's not a hard limit to 250, that's just kind of the upper end of what we think is a manageable batch size.
One more.
I'm sure we're ready.
This morning,
Last one, I think. Last one from over here.
Okay, so ballots can be inserted in your orientation. We do have the corner cut on our ballot stock that helps you orient the pages all the same way, but that's kind of an old holdover from older systems that we just never really